All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack a truly fascinating preschool curriculum script called The Vibrant Voyage of Letter V. We're breaking down the exact, incredibly methodical journey this lesson plan takes to introduce early language concepts to young minds. Now, I know it might seem super simple on the surface, but the architecture behind how we actually teach our very first letters, it's literally a masterclass in deliberate design. Let's see exactly how it works.
Here's a quick look at the roadmap for our explainer. First, we'll meet the letter V, then move on to tracing the mountain peak, explore the vocabulary garden, play the Spot the V game, and finally, wrap things up with a vibrant conclusion. Starting right off with Section 1, Meet the Letter V, which is all about sound and sensory introduction.
So the source material hooks the learner right out of the gate. The setting is this bright, sunny meadow, and a massive, friendly cartoon letter V just bounces onto the screen, making a distinct pop sound effect every single time it lands. But what's truly fascinating here is how heavily the curriculum focuses on the physical vibration of the sound. The narrator asks the kid to try saying v, v, but the notes for the educator explicitly mandate emphasizing that physical, tactile vibration happening right in the mouth and throat. And to reinforce this visually, the letter V actually glows whenever that specific vibratory sound is made. It's brilliantly bridging the auditory, the physical, and the visual, all at the exact same time.
Next up is Section 2, Tracing the Mountain Peak, where the focus shifts over to fine motor skills.
Watch how this builds because it's pretty clever. We transition away from that busy sunny meadow to a completely clean white screen with just dotted lines forming a giant V. This completely strips away any visual distractions so the child can focus absolutely entirely on the cognitive and physical task at hand, shape recognition. The script basically deconstructs the physical shape of the letter into 3 distinct manageable steps. A little magical blue star pops up to trace it, guided by these instructions. Start at the top, slide down to the point, and slide back up to the top. The narrator compares the shape to a mountain peak, giving the kids a relatable, real-world mental image to anchor this brand-new abstract shape. Which brings us to this absolutely crucial auditory cue: 1 line down, 1 line up. That is how we make a V. This perfectly distills that tracing action into a simple, rhythmic, and highly memorable phrase for early learners. It connects the physical motor action of drawing directly to a snappy verbal rhythm.
But you know, the curriculum doesn't just trace it once and call it a day. To actually cement this fine motor skill, the lesson plan mandates repeating the activity across 3 different speeds. We're talking slow, fast, and super fast. And this is a totally brilliant pedagogical tactic. By varying the speed, the children stay highly engaged. Honestly, anyone who's ever met a preschooler knows you kind of have to turn repetition into a game if you want them to sit still, right? And this does exactly that for building up their muscle memory.
Moving right along to Section 3, the vocabulary garden, which dives into cognitive association.
This section perfectly illustrates how we map a totally new sound to tangible objects out in the real world. Notice how carefully the source lays out these vocabulary words. The lesson drops us into a vocabulary garden, and every single item introduced is paired with a dynamic sensory action to really anchor the memory. A cartoon violin doesn't just sit there doing nothing, it plays a happy musical note. A bright purple van physically drives right across the screen. We see a basket of broccoli, carrots, and peppers actually pop up for vegetables, a cute little vest that does a little wiggle, and finally a volcano that puffs out this harmless, colorful cloud of glitter. They are literally firing on all cylinders to ensure these V words are active and memorable.
But here's the real game changer in this section, and it hinges entirely on this one specific number right here: 3.
We're talking about a mandatory 3-second interactive pause built directly into the script. After the narrator names an item, like that sparkly volcano, the script demands a 3-second pause. This built-in silence is such a clever mechanism. Why? Because it forces interactivity. It gives the children the space to actively repeat the word out loud, effectively transforming passive screen watching into active vocal participation. It guarantees the child is actually practicing that vibratory V sound we established at the very start of the lesson.
That naturally brings us to Section 4, the Spot the V game. This is the assessment and recognition phase.
So, to actually assess what the kids just learned, the curriculum throws up a visual grid of mixed cartoon letters, sneaking in letters like A, B, T, and S right alongside our letter V. Then, the narrator breaks the fourth wall with a super direct question: "Can you help me find all the V's?" This instantly shifts the whole tone of the lesson from direct instruction straight into a knowledge test, asking the learner to actually apply what they've just absorbed.
And when the child points to the correct letter, or when the lesson highlights it for them, the curriculum delivers this immediate, multisensory positive reinforcement. The correct V letters don't just sit there. They glow brightly, they grow larger, they even do a little dance. Couple that with the narrator offering enthusiastic verbal praise saying, "You found them all, you are amazing at finding the letter V, and you've got an incredibly potent reward system." It immediately validates the child's learning and really boosts their confidence.
Finally, we hit our last section, a vibrant conclusion where we synthesize the whole journey.
This is where the explainer really ties the whole shebang together by bringing all those scattered cognitive elements back into a single frame. Visually, the bright purple van, the happy violin, and the basket of vegetables all gather around that original, large, bouncing letter V, right back in the sunny meadow setting where we first started. By visually uniting the vocabulary objects with the letter itself, it reinforces the core relationship between the sound, the physical shape, and the concrete words one last time.
The script then wraps up with a super enthusiastic send-off from the narrator. The letter V waves goodbye, bounces right off the screen, and the narrator leaves the child with one final, very actionable instruction. Keep practicing your V sound. It's a great way to encourage independent learning long after the actual lesson is over. So let's leave off with this thought. Analyzing a seemingly simple preschool lesson really reveals the profound architecture behind how we learn to connect with the world around us. If these carefully structured, highly sensory building blocks shape our very first words, how much does the methodical design of early learning impact our lifelong ability to communicate? It's pretty fascinating to realize just how much deep strategy goes into teaching us our very first letters. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep asking questions about the building blocks of our world.